What's going on, everybody on YouTube? Steve here with Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com. Come back to you with another video, and in this video I wanted to answer a question that I received recently, which was, Steve, how much should I pay an employee in my eBay and Amazon business? So I'm going to answer this question in terms of my experience and how I've done it in the past, and hopefully this can help you out. So when I was running my eBay clothing business, my buddy who you saw in the other video was coming in once or twice a week and was photographing items, was helping to measure items, clean, prep items, store items, stuff like that. And I had another employee who was actually my ex-girlfriend who was listing up my items on eBay. So I'm going to kind of explain how I paid them, and hopefully this could help you. And also I'll touch on virtual assistants as well a little bit, which I experimented with. It didn't really work out for eBay for me, but I'll touch on that as well. So when you're having somebody list your items on eBay, or you're photographing items or just helping out, kind of like I did, there's really two ways to pay them based on my experience. One is hourly, and there's pros and cons to that. And the second one is a fixed price per item. So let's just say that you're trying to hire somebody right now to photograph your items and measure it, and maybe like clean and prep it a little bit, you know, rip off the tags, stuff like that. My suggestion would be, if you're there with them, like if you're like, maybe you have like a home office, or you have a big townhouse and you have a room and you could be there with them. Maybe you work on your Amazon while they do their eBay. If you're there with them, I would say go based on hourly, because you could watch them, you can make sure they're working, you can make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and bottom line, you know that they're working. So I would pay hourly. How much you should pay them really is going to vary. I've paid around $10 per hour and a little more than that in the past, but it's going to differ based on where you live. Things are a little more expensive in Connecticut. I think the minimum wage is like $9 over here, but I know minimum wage is cheaper in some states. So for you, that might be $7 an hour, $8 an hour, or maybe you hire like a teenage kid or something and you could pay him like $5 an hour, but I couldn't pay that cheap. The guy that was working for me was, 27 years old, so I had to pay him a decent amount, and I wanted to pay a little more than minimum wage just to show some respect and have him really work hard for me. So that's the first option. You can pay hourly, but again, I would make sure that you're there watching them, because if you can't be with them and you can't watch them, I'd feel uncomfortable doing hourly, but really that's up to you. Now, there was another scenario before I got in my office back in the day, and before I had him coming into my own place. What we were doing was we were actually dropping all of the clothing items off at his house, and we had the whole backdrop set up over there. We had the mannequin. He had like a whole spare room. I think I was living at home at the time, so I didn't have any space. So we had a whole setup at his house, and what I would do is I would drop all the clothing off at his house, and he would go through all the processes, and then I would pick it up. He'd have all the listing templates filled out for me, and I would pick up all the listing templates, and then I would go list it. So in that situation where I couldn't be there with him and I couldn't check the hours, we were doing fixed prices, right? So we were paying per item. Now, I don't remember exactly what I was paying. I think maybe like polo shirts, like for like the smaller items, like a polo shirt or a t-shirt, for him to photograph it, for him to prep it, rip off all the tags, measure it, do the listing template, I think we were paying about $1 per item. Don't quote me on that 100%, but I think it was $1 an item or maybe $1.25. Now for the bigger items that took more time, like the blazers and sport coats, because you have to kind of prep the mannequin, what we were doing was we were putting a dress shirt under the mannequin. We were putting a tie on it. There was more pictures to be taken. There were more measurements. For those, I think we were paying like $1.50 or $1.75. And then last but not least, the suits, which were the most time consuming. I think we were paying about $2 per item, because with the suit, you got a lot of measurements. You got to measure the actual top, the suit, you got to measure the pants. The pictures are more challenging to take. We had a whole system around it all. So we were paying fixed in that situation. So those are really the two options right there. You could either pay hourly or you could pay fixed based on the item. Really, you're going to want to do what works best for you, but those are the pros and cons for me right there. So hopefully that helped. Now, when it came to the virtual assistant, back when I used to do it, we were paying really, really cheap because we had somebody in the Philippines. So if you're hiring off of like Upwork or Fiverr or Elance, you could get people typically for $4 to $6 per hour that do really, really good work. The only thing is, and a lot of people underestimate the time that goes into this, is you got to make sure you manage them. You need to make sure that they're doing things correctly, and you got to make sure you have systems in place. So back in the day when I was doing it, and I'm actually getting ready to do it again, I haven't implemented the new systems yet, but back in the day we were using Turbo Lister. I think that's what it's called. Isn't it eBay Turbo Lister? We were using that, and pretty much what was going on was I was taking all of the listings and I was uploading a template to a Word document so they had it all. Then I'd upload all the pictures and the photographs and all that. And then they would list it all on my eBay account through Turbo Lister. And before it went through, I could finalize it and double check it all. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I didn't understand how to use it properly or what it was. Maybe we didn't have the processes down in line, but I hated it. It was so time consuming. You couldn't edit the pictures really nice on there, and it just didn't work for me. So if I was to do it again, and I've kind of already talked about this before in the green room, and I put some posts out on the Facebook, if I was to do it again, I would probably just have my VA log into my actual account, train them up well with a bunch of videos and stuff like that. And I've got some more information I'll talk about in another video about that, how to train them and whatnot. I've got some really good tips, but I'd probably just have them log into my eBay account and list it that way, and then just double check it after it's listed. But again, that's gonna take trust. That's gonna take a lot of systems and training and time put in. And again, you're gonna have to have trust. Luckily for me, I've got a few virtual assistants I've been working with for quite a few years now, starting with Kindle Publishing and helping out with YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I've got that trust factor there, but just wanna touch on that real quick in case you wanted to attempt to outsource to a virtual assistant. But again, guys, hopefully this video helped. You really only have two options in terms of how to pay your employee. Again, number one is gonna be hourly. Number two is fixed price. And if you're using a virtual assistant, that's a whole nother story right there. Again, guys, we're not gonna be jumping into the legality and taxes and Social Security and workman's comp and all that stuff in terms of having an employee. If you wanna pay under the table, that's up to you. If you wanna make them a 1099 contractor or whatever it is, that's up to you as well. We're not touching on that in this video, so please don't leave any comments about that. We could talk about that in another video. But in this video, I really just wanted to cover how to pay them and kind of how I went about doing that in my clothing business and how I'm doing it now. So if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, share this. If you're in a Facebook group and you're allowed to share it, and there's a couple thousand people in there, share this video because I really think it'll help them out. It's all about systems and it's all about processes, and this is the type of stuff that we can actually use to grow our business. So with that being said, thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one, and peace out. A lot of people ask, Steve, you just got this beautiful new townhouse. I mean, this thing is like 1,600 square feet. There's 3 stories, including the garage. Like, you've got a spare bedroom. Like, why aren't you like bringing this stuff inside and doing your work inside? Why are you out in the cold garage with a little portable heater? And I want to address that real quick because I think this may be able to help some people. And I kind of want to give you guys my stand in terms of why I'm doing that and kind of share some of my experiences because I think some of you folks might be dealing with the same situation. So first and foremost,